Mokokchung is always buzzing. It's always Christmas and wedding season, that time of the year. I remember it was a cold winter morning. I was with my parents and we were out shopping for a wedding decoration for one of our aunts. She was getting married the next day.
Started as a normal day. Baba to bahai garne ekta dress bunabuli garne town ti jaise.
I was in the car with my cousin, sister, and that is when I heard the first gunshots. I thought it was firecrackers because it's Christmas season, but it kind of continued a lot more. The next moment I saw my dad running towards us. The window was open and he took me out from the car, out of the car window. My mom ran towards the other side and got my cousin and sister out of the car, and we went into the shop where they were buying stuffs. We just barged in so that a few other customers and the shopkeeper was like, come inside, come inside. And we just went inside, we switched off the lights, we closed down the shutters, and I could hear a lot of prayers, a lot of screaming, but a lot of gunshots just going.
There was no place for me to hide anywhere. So I entered into a small shop and watching all this incident.
To pahari ni sadigan logoti boi thaka time di to start hoise to khor de bulai jaise.
Afterwards, when the shooting started more, we alerted. I got alert, and I gander.
I could hear banging on the shop that we were stuck in, and we were not sure if we could open or not. And I remember my dad and someone else mentioning, oh, we should open, we should not, should we open, should we not? And finally they were really screaming, so somehow we opened the shutters and we had to all go out with our arms lifted. I was 5 years old, so I didn't know. And so I remember I would lift my arms up, I would bring it down, I would lift my arms up, I would bring it down. And when we reached the road, I turned back and I remember seeing the Indian Army really beating the shopkeeper with the butt of the gun.
Army asked me to come out and lay down on the open ground. So I lay down with my son on the open ground, exactly in the police point.
We were on the highway and we had to lie down on the road for many hours. I remember my dad saying, press your body against the road as much as you can because the stray bullets can come and hit us.
No one was allowed to sit. Anybody who rise up their head like this, even they were also beaten.
I went there. One lieutenant was there. I showed my priest accreditation card. Then he said, I should not write. I should go away from there. So I said, I will not go. I will not do anything. Let me watch.
I remember a lot of tears, crying, screaming. I heard a lot of angry terms, angry voices. I also remember the Indian Army screaming in some Hindi languages and shouting at a lot of people.
1,000 people were lying on the open, and then they were standing in between the human shield, and then they started firing around. So this underground people, they could not fire to the army because of that civilian.
One child was crying. The child was crying, Baba, Baba, Abba, Abba. I got hold of him and then, don't cry. And then I asked his name, and then I asked his father's name. Then he said his father's name, and then I asked his house where it is. Then he could not say very well the name of the ward where he stays also. But then when I carried him, hold him, and don't cry like this, then the father of the child just a little bit lift up his head and watched at him. So I realized that having heard the voice of his son, the father might have recognized it. So I said, "Is that your father?" "Yes," he said. "Your father will come, you wait."
While we were lying down, I remember I wanted to kneel down because I was so tired, just flat face. But my dad would repeatedly tell me, "Do not kneel down." That is a sentence that I remember my dad mentioning several times. The civilians who were in the borders tried to escape, but they were brought back. A lot of them were tortured. I didn't see a lot of it, but I could hear men in pain.
Those women, I've heard their, murmuring sound, like hi, like that, no? But then I have not seen with my own eye. Only from hearing their women's cry with the top of their voice, I've heard.
This army used to snatch away the shawl worn by ladies, and then they put petrol, and then putting fire, they threw it in the buildings.
And then they threw grenade into the shop.
It was the day when our vehicle went in flames. A lot of shops were burned to ashes.
So one lady, her mikila was snatched away, and then she was not wearing anything. She was sitting just in front of a wall and shivering and weeping. I asked one of the ladies who was just laying down with the shawl. I told her, "Please give one of your shawls." That army stopped to me. Then I said, Your sister is without clothes, shivering. क्या अपना sister को कपड़ा नहीं दूंगी? I said, and then he looked at me, and then he didn't say anything, but as a sign of acceptance of my request, he said like this. So I give it to her.
The entire town was in flames, and because of the flames, there was so much of smoke, and it did affect us, and we were choking, we were coughing.
Army people asked to wake up from the lying down and then move towards their side. So when we reach that gate of the church, taking the advantage of that gate we reach, I enter into the church thinking that even if any incident is taking place, when I am in the church, I am safe. Almost 100 people were there.
I remember there were old men in the corner crying and praying. I remember two young ladies. I remember their faces. I remember their reactions, and I remember my dad saying, "It's over, it's over, it's okay." I just remember those faces.
When we came out from the church, it was completely deserted look, and lying human beings on the spot, and then blood running out. Fire were burning the houses, shops, and then some people were, grooming inside the shop.
I saw a lot of shoes. The street was filled with shoes and sandals.
After coming home also, I used to imagine, was it a dream or true? Was it a dream or true? And it haunted me so much. So many vehicles are laying down half-burned. 3-4 RCC buildings were collapsed. From there, smoke comes up. Hill their buildings were burned. Underground, so many clothes half-burned, scattered. Blood was there.
दूसरा मानों तो सब तो खोड़ दिया इसे, बोली भी बाबा तो आना है, do mo kan bi down tak pi jai na bisari si de do moi police point par hoina tadi eastern hall side fali bi edu tak pi jai si army asmar full ground tak pi jai si edu din yadi jabu kun jane ni just pirai na bisari thaki ji to down edu din laga do down do bishi horror scene thaki ji ekta.
Towards evening, it was not even synchronous. It was completely 100% silent. No one was there. This is something human tongue cannot express the feeling.
I always think, I don't know why we survived that day.
After I came back home, I heard the women cry. And then the child was crying, Papa, 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 nang chupa ule, Papa, nang chupa ule. Papa, where are you? Papa, where are you? But Papa is lying there. How broken heart a father might have. This haunted me so much. Even now, I feel that I hear in my conscience, even now, the shouting or crying of mother and the children in the midst of fighting. This was horrible.
Papa nahaura pusti mano logot khobor dishi dagan pi aishi aro sob to ini bisare thakiji experience to bishi alag thakiji papa zinda zina murigina je kun janina khel mano pusti mano town di thaka different administration NGO sopra for 1 month mutop kuri thakiji mogando khordo day night ini nukhumai gina na 24 hours to khordo khula daga daim thakiji on the 25th of January to ekta down ini clean up hua time de ekta khopra aise de kapura pika dokan ka ekta store de duita bodies dikhichi gena do taigan bram matise to moi dangor hora bra moi jagena saise to taigan bra lompin laga kiba pocket to ulagina pahar de rakhi thakiji to moi to saram de ni ai to papa ajigena jadi jaiji nichi do dukan thakije tai laga kiba do saman rakha gotam itu lop upar itu ini khor laga bole lop rombi bishi huru ekta thakiji to tari duijon do ini suffocate kore na tari kapra lote tai duijon thakiji ini itu tai laga body dikhina to kiba shock hoje de moi bi to ma logot bi bhai bhuni kan logot bi kun gi dikha nai de any funeral do luise moi sukubra dikha do aje papa do next day it was the 26th January will be mokan pusti jagena tadi bury hina aishi
I want to say I've forgiven. Have I? I'm not sure. But I tell myself, I think that's important to forgive and move on.
Baba ba dukan to dikharam to hotai I get the chills na itu din la bhavana thakile sapna nishnai bhabi it was a bad dream just like a bad dream the 1 month period kini ga orna ki takat pra itu krishi aji takte itu kubulibin da pare de ni takat to be alak god pravi dishi.
When I see Mokokchung Town Baptist Church, I feel safe because going to the church was a way of us telling ourselves it's over, that it's done and we are safe.
That had happened as a float in a river once. It was just like a float on the river on rainy day, but then it does not last long. Whereas the spring on the bank of a river, perennial spring is always there. Whether day or night, or summer or winter, the spring remains as clean as it is.